what's really important in picking a mate in your younger years to be cohesive with aging in a relationship? Let me throw a couple videos up to kind of like collaborate with this question here.
Can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, just one more time.
What was that?
Rephrase the question.
All right, so rephrasing the question. What's important when basically picking, a spouse what's important in picking a spouse so that you are still married and that's gonna grow, you guys could grow old together, right? Like, so if let's say you're in your 20s and you find a spouse, find a mate to marry, what's important in picking them looking down the road? Like, what values or what characteristics, what things are important so that you guys could grow old together rather than drifting apart? Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And here is a video to kind of go with it.
Clinically has been for a couple to maintain their relationship without it deteriorating. They have to spend 90 minutes a week together talking about their lives, about how the house is run, about what they've all been doing to keep their stories caught up, right? And then they need to spend at least one time having a date, and two is better. One is necessary, two is better. And so that's sort of your minimal commitment level if you don't want things to deteriorate. My observation clinically has been for a couple to maintain their relationship without it deteriorating, they have to spend 90 minutes a week together talking about their lives, about how the house is run.
Your soulmate would know exactly what to do, exactly what to say at exactly the right time. I can go off on this stuff.
Yeah. What do you think the secret is to keeping a marriage vital, keeping it alive?
I think people get unhappy in marriages the way that people go bankrupt, which is very slowly and then all at once. I think it's very slow, and then your soulmate would know exactly what to do, exactly. We're just so criticized by the world. The world is so full of criticism. We criticize ourselves so harshly that having a partner who, no matter what, is like, you got this, I'm with you. Okay, yeah, you screwed up. I see it. I'm not going to lie to you about your blind spots. You screwed up. But you know what? People screw up sometimes. You got a right to screw up. A lot of people screw up. Come on, get up. Let's go. I know you have it in you. If you have that person, that's a superpower to have that effect on another person. We're just so criticized by the world. The world is so full of criticism.
Happy is a pretty low goal. I mean, first of all, there's going to be lots of times in your marriage where you are seriously not happy. And sometimes that's going to be because you're having conflict with your partner, but sometimes it's going to be because all hell's broken loose around you. What do you have when it's nothing but suffering? And that's going to be plenty of your life. And so the whole orientation of that question in that sense is wrong. What you want to have in your marriage is, I would say, first and foremost, like a scrupulous honesty. And I don't just mean that you tell each other the truth, because you can be brutal with the truth. I mean the kind of honesty that's devoted towards thriving in love, and you want to act nobly in your relationship. You want to be reliable and productive and generous. And then if you're lucky, you might be happy, and you might have a clear enough conscience so that in those rare moments where you are truly happy, you can also enjoy it without guilt. And so you aim at something a lot higher than happiness, and then you welcome it if it deigns to land on you for brief moments of time. Happy is a pretty low goal. I mean, first of all, there's going to be lots of times in your marriage.
All right. So what is important to sustain a marriage past the honeymoon phase? Let's just basically say that. That's an easy way to kind of break it down. What's important to keep the marriage going past the honeymoon phase into the wee older years of oldness and like saggy tits and like saggy ball state? Like, what do you guys think?
I'm going to let the newbies talk. I've already talked enough.
I think it's. I don't think there's a one size fits all. I think that it's specific to the individual, and I think I don't know. I assume it's not the same for everybody, but personally, I think that I wouldn't have been able to figure out what I wanted until I bumbled through what I didn't want.
What about you, Jess? What do you think is important? Jess? Oh, Jess, are you there?
You there? My reception. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
here.
okay.
My signal's terrible tonight. I keep dropping in and out.
Okay, I can hear you. What's important to keeping a relationship keep the relationship going past the honeymoon phase?
Well,
All
that's a
right.
complicated question. It's a lot of things.
Oh, I
Just name a
agree.
couple. Name a couple.
I think she's having internet problems. Travis or James, what do you think it is?
Well, I think probably first off, you have to obviously have the same beliefs morally. I think that's a solid foundation you should both agree on, moral beliefs, and also about spiritual beliefs, like do you believe in a deity or not? And what deity do you believe in? You know, that would be one thing in my opinion. And then I also think you should probably agree on who's y'all should definitely agree on anything like politically probably too and things like that. You should agree on pretty much. I wouldn't say agrees in the sense of like I don't know. It's kind of complicated. It's really complicated. I would say you align with a lot of things, but like because I don't want to sound like too agreeable, but like
I'm gonna move on to
yeah, move on.
Lindsay.
It's difficult.
Lindsay, what would you say?
Okay, like the guy in the video said, hey, at least spend 90 minutes a week or something discussing all your issues with each other, or the things that are going on, etc. Equally important to me would be being with somebody, even though you're in that lust and love, glorious, get out of town, I can't think of anything else but you stage. In the future, as important in your relationship would be being able to be apart, at least for things that having independent interests. Let him go do his football thing. You don't have to pretend like you like football. Let him go out with his friends. Don't be such a choking, caging type person. So as important as it is to spend time together and to communicate, it's also important to let each other have your own lives at the same time. Don't suffocate each other. Enjoy your differences.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, I can agree
That's
with that.
important.
I think Jordan Peterson does say it a lot, right? I do agree, Jordan Peterson.
I would say that it's important to. I like what Jordan was saying. Like I call it like a pulse check, right? Where you guys are, maybe once a week or maybe every 2 weeks, you guys get together and you're just talking about, hey, where can there be improvement? What's working, what's not working? Because you may not be able to address everything throughout the day together, and just kind of like, hey, what is working, what's not working? All right. And then having that conversation and be like, okay, so this is not working for me. Okay. Like, I told you what the budget is. You seem to be spending, more and more outside of the budget range. I'm going to end up having to restrict, access or figure something out here if you're going to
Put you in the crawl space.
Keep on going past the budget, right? Like
put you in your place.
something like you have these conversations, or maybe it's her like, hey, you know what's not working is, when you get home from work, you turn on TV and you're just tuned out. We're not spending any quality time together, or anything like that's not working for me. I brought it up
what you're doing right.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You tell you what's working and what's not working. You
Okay.
have this conversation, like, kind of let each other know. So, okay, it's a pulse check. All right. You're just checking the pulse of the relationship, see where it's at, and see where you could improve on. I don't think it's a problem with, asking or seeking areas of improvement. And it's not like you have to necessarily do what they say. But you hear where they're coming from and be like, then maybe address like, hey, I'm not doing that way because of whatever reason. And you could, explain it to them and work it out that way. But at least you are not assuming everything's fine and dandy. And then come to find out that, oh shit, something could have been addressed that you didn't know could have, was an issue. And then now here you are having this problem, and you're at marriage counseling, and you're about to get a divorce. That's what I would say. I think a pulse check is important, and also just have your time away from each other. Like you do your own thing. He has his thing, you have your thing, but then you guys have the couples thing. You guys do these things as a couple, but he plays pokers with his buddies on Wednesday, and you have a book reading thing you do with your girlfriends on Thursday, and but then you guys have your time. You have to definitely make your time a priority. You can't put your time as a couple on the back burner for other things.
I think it's a unanimous agreement.
Yeah. So that's what I would say.
That would just fall under good communication, right?
Well, I mean, communication, everybody says good communication, but it's like, it's
Vague.
not just what is being said, it's also what's being done, because actions are communication as well. You could say a lot of things, but if your actions don't communicate what your words are, then it's a problem.
It's cognitive dissonance.
Well, I'm going to just say, okay, your actions are saying this, and I'm just going to take your actions as where you really stand on it.
I'm sorry, but we all agree on it.
Too much communicating can be annoying.
What was that?
Too much communicating can be annoying.
Oh, yeah. It is true. But I think, keeping communication alive is important. Did I miss a super chat? Oh, I did. Kareen comes in with a $10 super chat that says, what sustains a marriage is when both parties value the relationship more than they value their own individual desires. Very true. Very, very true. I think, and that's where, things start to end in relationships. It goes from what about we to what about me. And as soon as things turn into what about me, or if one party in the marriage has the what about me mentality, it's going to go bad. It's not going to work out. When it's always what about me, then it's a problem.
I think when you're in love with a narcissist, it's kind of a lonely feeling because both of you are in love with the same person.
That's true. And they ain't in love with you.
Right.
So what do you guys think? Do you think we answered all those questions? Is there any other questions? And does anybody from the the chat want to hop up and share their point of views, ask their questions.
I want the freak to unpack that comment. I find that women have a hard time being content for more than a couple hours after sex. Maybe there's context around it in the chat that I'm not seeing, but maybe scroll up
I'm
a
trying
little
to
bit.
find it. Oh, nope. Let's see. Oh, this one.
Like she's out looking for more dick, or she's mad at you again.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm like content. Did you not hit the spot? Did you not feel you not do the deed? Were you too quick?
Maybe he did it too good and he found a freak.
I think love has left the earth. It actually doesn't exist here anymore.
Wow,
Okay.
who said that?
That's
Content
abysmal.
in their overall content in their overall life.
Yeah,
Well,
that's dark. Man.
Here's the thing. I don't think we should be content. I think content leads to
Stagnation.
complacency. I think it leads to feeling like you don't have to do anymore. You don't have to improve. That you don't have to strive for becoming better. When you're content, you're like, oh, I'm content. I'm good. I'm good with this right here. This. Yeah, I don't need to do anything more than this. Yeah, it leads to complacency. Born, do you want to hop up? Born, why aren't you up here? You asshat.
That'll get someone up.
Get your bald-headed, Viking-looking, biker-riding ass up here, you old man. See, that's how you get somebody's attention. Now he's gonna come up here, ready to shoot me.
Look at Angel's face. It got Angel's attention. He's frozen. He's frozen.
Angel's frozen.
That's a happy motherfucker right there.
Oh yeah.
I've got a random question. What kind of woman would a man who's more of the soft kind of beta emotive type, the kind that you showed at the beginning of the video, and you and I were guessing how short their marriage were going to be and who would leave who first, and the guy was all about the woman, and we were saying it's definitely going to be the guy because he's needier and he's not as masculine. There's a lot of men like that. There's a lot. What kind of women would be best for them? Obviously, they're going to be attracted to a woman that's going to have more power, but then that's not going to work out well, right?
No, it doesn't end up working out well. It's not like, oh, which woman is best for them. It's actually that they got to step
What
it up.
works? So there's no way for that to work.
It can. I mean, I think it can it doesn't on the average sense, right? But it can on like I would call more like they're anomalies relationships. These are relationships with more of an anomaly.
Really?
Where like
I see a lot of guys like.
No, I see a lot of guys get in relationships like that, but they don't last very long. There's always the relationship either breaks down, or there's going to be bitterness. There's going to be infidelity. She either may step out on him because naturally, although she married him and there was whatever that she was attracted to him, she married him for, but she still has that desire to be with the guy that
beat down,
like someone to look up to. Women desire. I mean, they desire a man to look up to. They don't want a guy that they look down on. It's almost a shame thing too if they're with the guy that they look down on.
Is she necessarily going to look down on the nice guy? Don't some women really like that type of mild-mannered, nice guy?
You could be mild-mannered, but still have authority.
I
like I don't. I'm not about controlling people. I don't want to control anybody. I want to control myself. That's about it. I have no desire to control anybody. Now, what I will do is I have these boundaries, right? And I have this framework that I choose to live my life in. And I'm not controlling you, but I'll tell you this: if you step outside of the boundaries that I want to live my life by, right? That I feel like this is what I want in my life, and you decide to step out of that, well, then you're no longer in my life. And that was your choice because you stepped up out of the framework. I'm not controlling you. You could do whatever the fuck you want to do. But I let you know from the beginning, hey, this is the boundaries of the relationship. This is where I want my relationship at. If you do anything outside of that, that's cool. Do your thing. But we're not a thing. And that's not control. That's being in control of you. I know I can't control people. I can't control them. I can't control what they think. I have no desire to try to control what people do. The only thing I can control is me and what I will allow and will not allow in my world, in my life. And if that's something you
essence,
do,
you're controlling the woman that you choose to be with, because you told us that she's a reflection of you, and you have certain standards that you want her to meet.
And if she doesn't want to live in that framework and she wants to live elsewhere, then she's not my wife. She's not the woman for me, right? She has the choice to make that decision. Right. And I'm not forcing her to stay in anything.
She knows where the exit is. She came in the door, she knows where the door is.
Welcome, Born.
Nice.
My bald-headed Viking friend.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm amazing, man. Can't have a bad day. Can't have a bad day at all. I'll jump on for a few minutes, but I have to feed horses soon. As soon as I'm done doing that, I can get back on.
Okay, real quick though. You've been in the chat for a minute. Go ahead and share your thoughts on the conversations, either all the topics or the last topic that we just were talking about.
How about saying shoot the topics at me, man? You know my memory.
Oh, I know you're old and you don't remember shit.
That TBI shit gets me.
Here we go. For the old guy in the room.
Yep.
What is the most important thing in picking a spouse for long term? Like, what are the qualities that you think that you need in order to have a lifelong relationship? What are important?
Respect is huge. Like, I believe you said it several times, but even in the Bible, I believe it says that, a man is to love his wife, a woman is to respect her husband.
Yep.
They're very different things. So yeah, that's probably one of the bigger things I would look at, is a level of respect, caring. I agree with you. She is not the responsibility of my peace, but she is not to interrupt it. Would be how I would kind of put that. It's like, yeah, I think, what was it? Josie said, don't bring chaos.
Yeah.
That I'm huge on, right? I have to deal with chaos every time I leave my house. When I come home, all I want is peace. If you can't help provide that peace, then I don't want you here.
Absolutely.
If all we're going to do is argue, nag, well, then bye. I don't have the time for it. And I don't argue with women and children.
You don't argue with women and children. Real quick, let me go ahead and hit this super chat. Real quick. Oh man. Lol. You know who you is. Sent a $5 super chat that says, I think it's cope. It sounds like you know how to control. It's an altruistic form of control, but it's still you setting terms. I'm setting terms for me.
Yeah, exactly. Those are my standards.
These are my standards and my terms for my life. That's not me setting terms for your life. Yeah. You get to choose if you agree with my terms.
Mm-hmm.
And if you agree
door
with my
swings
terms,
both ways.
Great. Yeah, like it's not control. I'm controlling me. If you don't have control over you, then you are giving someone else control over you.
Mhm.
So you need to have control as a man. You need to have control over you, over your life. Don't think you have control over other people. You know, you may have the ability to influence, you may have the ability to encourage, but you don't control them at all. Shout out to Cam for the $5 super chat for heavy flows use of paper towels, rolls of 4 periods. What?
Was that what it says?
For heavy flow for heavy flow uses paper towel rolls for periods.
Where is that?
It was a Cash App chat.
Well, good grammar, Callum, or whoever that was.
Thanks for the cash app.
It was Cam.
Or Cam.
Kareen sends a $10 super chat, says women submitting to men only works when he submits to God. I agree. I concur.
Which
so
God?
Here we go. We're not doing that one. The other previous question was, should both parties be in control of the money, or should it just be the husband?
I don't think that there's a one size fits all answer for that. Sometimes the man will be better at money. Sometimes the woman will be better at money. Yeah, I don't know that I think that there's a yes or
A
no
cut and
answer
dry.
Right.
What about you, Born?
I would kind of agree with that. I don't think there's a cookie cutter approach to it. What works for me is, we each have our own accounts and then a joint account that does everything. That's just how I do it. So, but I do agree that I definitely know many couples who, some the men control it, some the women control the finances just because that's the way that he prefers it set up. She takes care of that stuff. Basically, she'll cover she pays the bills, so he doesn't have to get online and do it. Is that controlling the finances?
It seems like it tends to work better when men are in charge of revenue and women are in charge of expense management, but that's just very sort of generic observation.
Yeah, because I don't know if I totally agree with that, because expense management is not something I would say women are good at.
I don't know. I'm the one that's faster with money in my relationship.
And again, there are exceptions to the rule, but the majority of the debt in this country is owned by women for a reason.
To what degree do you know?
To any degree, credit card.
No, I mean,
debt,
how much more debt do women have than men? Do you know?
Oh, that I would not know off the top of my head. No, I just know the scale tips in their direction. I've noticed just even personally, right? Women, they tend to not have the same understanding of money as men do, which is why you get so many women in their 20s that think every guy on the planet makes 6 figures. They just don't, kind of younger women especially, I'll say that they don't have the same concept of money and finances as most of the younger men I talk to. Money just appears for them. It just shows up in their cash apps. It just, guys buy them shit, right? They have no actual concept of how things work for a while. And then again, that's just from my perspective. I don't see that start changing until mid to late 20s on average.
So I've got two different, the chat's providing two different figures. Miss Di said, damn, where'd it go? 2/3 of the debt in the U.S. is women. And then Jonathan Earl over my chat says men have 20% more loan debt than women, mostly because of auto and mortgage debt.
Well, then he's obviously not looking at college loans and student
Right.
debt.
And then he says men have women have 2.4%, 2.7% more student loan debt than men.
Yeah. So like I said, it's just something I see, right? I don't see guys going, ooh, I need to go get that $1,500 Prada clutch.
Do more women go to college than men?
Today, yes.
Well, that explains the debt.
Yes, but they're getting worthless degrees like gender studies, and they're only going into debt, the overwhelming majority of them.
That's something I don't know. Could be. I guess you could call that poor human capital, but everybody's going to pick.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think you're right about. There's a joke about how do you tell when someone's a liberal arts major? They're either delivering pizza or driving Uber vehicles. But
most people graduating college don't even use their degrees.
I don't know. I really wouldn't say. Never mind. Go ahead.
You got it.
Yeah, you got it. I didn't hear it.
I really don't know how that would be measured, but overall, it seems like that could be absolutely true, where women are getting careers in, basket weaving type of majors, where guys are doing the hard sciences, and so there goes the value again. The whole point of the value, and women are seen as poor human capital, even when they, land pretty good careers. And I think one of the reasons for that is because a lot of men think that they would be better off working at home and being traditional moms, and not working at home, being a traditional mom, traditional wife, that kind of thing. Because what we all end up doing is getting these degrees, all of us, not just females. We get these degrees and we can't really apply them. We have these big pipe dreams about how we're going to do it. But in reality, we always end up doing something different than the major.
Well, look at what society pushes too. I mean, Jesus, we have schools now that are doing a degree in gender fluid dance. What the fuck do you do with that?
Is that actually a thing?
Yes, I
That's amazing.
God, I forget which college it was. Hold on, I will try to look for it.
I tend to think though that most college degrees are not a good investment anymore. Especially if you've got to go in debt to get it.
The one that has the most utility is probably a business degree. And otherwise, I would say if you're going to go into liberal arts stuff, English, or if you're going to go into anything, or writing, anything creative that used to be popular in Socrates and Plato's time has completely lost value, and you cannot live off those things.
So just as a quick search, several schools provide a major in dance, including gay and lesbian studies and queer theory, including prominent schools such as Northwestern.
What?
Yeah, useless degrees, but they'll pay $60,000 for them plus.
Well, it's obviously a money mill. It's not about productivity or improving our country. Yes, that's
all
what we are now.
If people are going to, I'm going to start a college, what do you need to? If they can sell that shit, I can sell something.
Right. Unfortunately, the only thing I'm good at is not something I can teach to the public.
For only $5,000 a year, I will give you a degree in watching YouTube videos.
I'm talking about the wrong business, man. I'm talking about wanting to like something with electronics. That's the wrong business.
I'm going to start a college, and it's going to be Common Sense College.
Yes.
Not with that hat, you're not. Not with that hat, you're not doing no such thing.
Yes, I am.
Talk shit
Don't you
about
hate on the
fedoras.
fedora?
You hold up.
Oh,
The hell is wrong with
those are
you?
wonderful ass.
I think I heard you guys talking about like women's studies, everybody knows it's not women's studies anymore. It's underwater basket weaving. Underwater basket
they can hold their breath for a long time.
You can add that to a poli-sci degree and be a lawyer, or to an English degree. It can be a starting point.
I think we young people have been lied to. This whole push, like even our generation was really pushed on this. You got to go to college. You got to get a degree if you want to, make it in life. And it's like, really though? That's what I'm talking about. Hey, you and I have the same shirt. Fuck your feelings? Yes. I know where you got that shirt from.
I want to give credit though, because recently there was a program where Black students were given free scholarships. And out of all the Black students that partook in it, it was way, way, way more females. And the men weren't interested. They wanted to go do other things,
Yeah, like
mainly illegal things, but
Well, no,
selling
it's not even
drugs,
just-
I don't know. But they didn't take
You know,
advantage of it, and the women did, so I'd at least give them credit.
College is stupid today. Like college is dumb. There's no point in going to college. You know what? I tell guys, go get a trade. Go to a trade school.
Yep.
Go
Trade's
to
going to be
trade
the new
school.
hack in 10 years.
Like I'm telling you right now, like we are hurting for power linemen. And you know those guys make about like 150 an hour. Like go. You want to stack up some chips?
They'll start
Yeah.
at 6 figures.
Welders make a lot of money.
Welders too.
Mhm.
Like go learn a trade. It's not the sexiest
plumbers.
job. It's not the sexiest job. Like even my dad was a plumber. My dad was a plumber for the city of LA. He was knee deep in shit regularly. Still made a kill.
I have a buddy of mine that is just a handyman now that makes 6 figures.
Yeah. Like go learn a trade. Learning a trade sets you apart from, like, you can have a degree and I have no problem. I tell people that, like, hey, they should go to I think high schools need to start implementing trades. High schools need to start implementing trades.
They used to. They took them all away.
Yeah, they got rid of, like, shop class and all that other stuff.
Carpentry, wood, welding, metal shop, all that went away.
If they just need to implement, like, your when you're in high school, the 4 years that you're in high school before you graduate, you should be able to start taking a trade school, like, course in the high school, so that by the time you graduate high school, you could walk into a job in that field that you studied in high school and get on as an apprentice or get on as,
That's
as a
more
laborer.
like the way they do it in Germany, but Americans find it unconstitutional. They test you and you gravitate towards a certain skill.
Yeah.
Some guy's going to gravitate towards electronics and some guy science and et cetera and so forth. But then what happens is they say, okay, you're good at this and we want you to follow this path. You don't get to say, hey, I'm going to go do basket weaving because that's what I want to do. Not, I don't care that I'm good at computer forensics, for example. And they don't get the choice. And then we deem that as kind of unconstitutional and you're not letting people have their freedoms. And then we have a society where people are complaining that all we have is pizza deliverers and hair cutters.
Yep. Let me go and hit some super chats that I missed. I got Corrine coming in with saying you cannot have a democracy of two. Facts. A relationship is a hierarchy, it's a dictatorship. Keyword is dick. Tating that ship. Callum sends a $5 super chat and says W flow state. YouTube degree is probably more useful than Common Core.
Probably.
I agree to that. And then
it at least won't make things worse.
Corrine also sends in another $10 super chat. I'm not sure if it's a duplicate, but it says you can't have a democracy of two. True.
Hey Glenn, excuse me. I'm gonna bow out for a few. I'm gonna go take care of some ranch chores and stuff. But if you're still on when I get back over here, I will jump back in.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Have a good morning, gentlemen and ladies.
You too.
Thank you. You too.
What do you guys say is like the number one problem in relationships?
It looks less like a ska band in here now that he left.
I know. Damn it.
Well, wouldn't it be that the divorces and breakups, the amount?
Well, what is the problem with them? Like, why?
I think people are getting married too early and without agreeing on things and really learning who.
The average marriage now is not until like the first marriage is not until like for men I think it's 30s, early 30s. Women is late 20s, early 30s, like 29, 30, 31, 30. Like that's the average, age of first year marriages now.
I don't have that.
Before it was like in the 20s. So
Maybe
got
getting
married
married too fast, no matter what age you are. It's really just, hey, I dig you. Let's go to Las Vegas. Not taking it seriously.
I
I
wonder
got married
how
at
many.
24, and I think I was like the first one. I was not the first one, but damn close. The first one I knew to get married.
I don't know. What do you think it is, Glenn?
I think it's selfishness. I think, well, I think feminism, for like makes for like, not forces, but it encourages women to be selfish and think about themselves, and then guys in response to that, become selfish. And I think it just kind of feeds off each other. And when I say why, like feminism, because it's like females are equal, female that what women deserve this, women. So then you start hearing all that outside of like, in society, that will ultimately play into your home as well. If you're around all that, and that's you hear all that all the time, it's impossible to keep that outside of your home. It will eventually spill into your household.
You're not
so I
utilizing
think-
your crawl space enough if that's your problem.
No, my crawl space is fine. I can hide in my crawl space.
No, you
but
throw
I
her in the crawl space, Glenn. That's what I'm telling you, you feminist.
Oh no, I don't want to throw her in her crawl space. That unless it's the dungeon time. But no, I think selfishness. I think unfortunately, feminism doesn't promote families. Actually, their goal is to, as they said, and I could pull it up here, a quote from one of the leaders of the second wave of the.
Is it going to be Malay again?
Feminism is fighting against.
Yeah, Malay again. She said, our ultimate basically goal is to destroy the nuclear family and traditional marriage. So. They're not promoting marriages. They're not promoting families. They want to destroy that. So it's very individual thinking. And then you got the red pill on the other side, right? They do the same thing. Go out there, don't marry, well, they don't say don't marry. They advise not to do it. They also encourage, if you're going to do it, smartly, protect yourself, protect your assets before, you get into it and know what you're getting into. But even then it's like, do your thing, do what's best for you. We hear women tell women like, do what's best for you, girl. And then now here on the other side, in the red pill side, we hear guys saying, man, do you, man. If she ain't on your program, dismiss her. On to the next one. Move on. Like, just
and don't work hard at it. Just go.
They're both very selfish. They're extremely selfish mindsets. And when you have people coming into a marriage that's supposed to think about a we, but they're only thinking about me, then they're both just two selfish people.
Yeah.
Going to be fighting over who gets their way rather than what's best for the family. What's our way? This is our way. You're leading. Okay, cool. I'm your supporting role. Great. Let's go. And
I think when you look at excuse me, go ahead.
When you're constantly thinking about me, how is this affecting me? What am I getting out of this? You're not thinking about the family. And that's what ends up breaking it down.
I think the microcosmic world can be looked at like symptoms of the macrocosmic world, which is the problem at large, ubiquitously, no matter where you go. How that will manifest itself is in problems in the family unit itself. So you go from large societal issues in the way we see things, our principles or lack thereof, whatever problems we have in society at large, and narcissism and selfishness is one of them. They will show themselves in individual relationships in small family units. We're reflecting the world at large in a very small way. And you could even say we do that here on YouTube, in the way we talk to each other or the way we esteem each other, certain ways that we think, the sheep mentality where you get on the wagon because everybody else is assuming that, hey, if you're anti LGBTQ dancing down the streets naked, you are sexist, or if you think this, if you say the N-word, you're racist. And there's a label for everything that is woke, and you're afraid to people being afraid to say the truth, to speak certain words, because they'll be called a single name that will make them shut up, such as racist, such as anti-gay, such as
I have no problem hearing
all
that.
these things. A lot of people do, and they want to fit in, and that's like part of the need for affiliation in psychology. They want to have some certain semblance of belonging to something, and then we can get sick as a society, and we can see things in ways that aren't really healthy, that like our consumption habits. They're not really healthy. We're not really eating healthy. We're not really, making our lives longer. We lack exercise, et cetera, that kind of thing. And then what it boils down to is you see this individual family reflecting those values and modeling these values, and then you have another generation who copies them. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I look at, like, when you hear people say they got divorced and they're getting divorced for irreconcilable differences, that means that you got two selfish people at the end of the day. Two selfish people that chose not to, work it out. They each of them wanted their own way.
It's kind of like the decadence of the 20s led to the Great Depression. Much like we are now, and kind of spoiled in a way, and it's leading to nowhere good, to competition for resources, to lack of resources, to destruction of the environment, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm done.
What were you saying, Flo?
I don't remember.
I'm sorry.
It's just late. Oh, I don't know. What were you guys talking about? Cars
Hose and shit.
Hose and
He
shit.
He was talking specifically about selfishness being a real problem in today's marriages.
Right. Thank you. This is what I was going to say. I don't think that I don't think success is not divorce. You can absolutely have a failure of a marriage.
I agree.
That lasted. Do you agree? Because it doesn't sound like you agree.
No, I do agree. I don't think success. I don't think what determines a successful marriage is people making it 80 years. Because there's been people that make it 80 years until they're dead, and then they fucking hated each other for 50 of them, or 60.
So
of them,
I think
that's not a successful marriage.
Then I think that using divorce as a metric for how you know if a marriage has failed or not is inaccurate. It's easy. It's an easy grab.
Well, it does determine, a marriage failed. If they ended the marriage, they got a divorce, that marriage failed.
Correct. The marriage, well, yes, the marriage failed, but there are bigger failures than divorce most of the time. That's it.
But
I love no fault divorce. I'm all about it. Call it selfish, call it anecdotal.
Not when it comes to.
I want to support it.
But when I have no problem with no fault divorce, I already said, like, I would keep it in place, but make it to where you couldn't receive any benefits, like financial benefits, from the other party if there's no fault. I think if you want financial benefits from it, the other party, then you need to have a fault for it. But and I know no fault. I know no fault expedites the court proceedings, and it keeps it, doesn't drag on the case, and it saves people money when it comes to lawyers and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I think if you want to go no fault, then you want to have no money to come out. Cool, you go in with what you came with, and you guys go move on. But divorce is, you said there's more important failures to worry about than divorce.
Well, yes. I think the misperception is that a lasting marriage is a successful marriage.
No, but a healthy marriage is a successful marriage, which leads to which would lead to a lasting marriage.
Sure. Well, right. A healthy marriage is, but if you're looking at divorce, but now you can't get a divorce because it's illegal or harder to get, that's not a healthy marriage.
No, it's you should be able to get a divorce. Again,
Sorry, I'm sort of talking to you, and I'm sort of talking to the chat.
Okay.
By making divorce harder to attain, the only marriages that you save are the bad ones.
Oh,
I also don't think that there's any reason for the state to be involved in personal relationships.
Well, I agree with you there, but I think if it's a divorce and there's no fault and someone wants to take, you to the cleaners, I don't think they should get anything. I mean, if anything, they broke the covenant, they broke the contract, right? So normally when you break the contract for no reason, there's a penalty that you have to pay the other party, not you get paid for, breaking the contract.
Why do you want a personal relationship to be a contractual one?
I don't, but that's what they have made it. They have made that.
So your logic, your reasoning doesn't make sense. If you don't think it should be a contractual relationship, then you would want as little contractual.
Right, but see, I'm saying as it is now.
You're saying that you don't want it, and then you're leaning into it.
No, I'm saying I don't want it to be this way, but that's what it is. So I'm talking about how it is now, since it is contractual. That's what a marriage license is. It's a contract. Since it is that way, then they should apply contract law to that. It's saying, hey, if you are the one breaking the contract for no just reason, then you should not receive any benefits. Actually, if anything, you should have to pay the other party because you're breaking the contract. That's exactly what any other contract law would, do. If you break the contract before the agreed termination of the contract and there's no just cause, there's a penalty assessed to it.
There are the clauses of a marriage vow are not enforceable.
Well, I know. That's why I said it's stupid. That's why I don't think the government should be involved in marriage altogether. But since
you see how you're talking out of both sides of your mouth there. No, saying
it's not. I'm saying what I want it to be like and the way it is are two different things. I want it to be one way, but it's not that way. So since it's not that way, and we have to operate with the way that it is, because I can't snap my fingers and then change it, right?
It's not. It's not really a contract in the proper sense. It doesn't promise execution. It deals with asset. A divorce. All a divorce is asset division.
Yes, and I think again, it's still a contract. You two are binding, and you're both agreeing to the state that you two are going to be married, and you're going into this contract with the state, and one party decides to break this contract, the state is going to hold the other party liable for assets. And it's like, okay, well, how about this? You get the assets that you came in with, right? But you don't get any more than what you came in with.
You understand that by introducing the element of who broke the contract gets punished, that increases the amount of government interference in that relationship.
We already have it. I'm saying that the way that
that's like saying we already have abortion during the first term. We might as well have it during the rest of the pregnancy.
No, I'm not increasing the amount of government input. It's government input's already there. They're just not. They're heavy sided on one side. I'm just saying they should just obey the contract law framework. Like, okay, you broke the contract. All right,
which is more intensive government intervention, or
I think that's when it should come default though. Like, okay, you want X, Y, and Z assets from the marriage. Why, when you're the one breaking the contract? What do you have a justifiable reason for breaking the contract?
Right.
Okay, you do. Cool.
And you see how that though is an increase because shit. I chased him off because he knew I was right. Haha, he rage quit. I won. Flow state for life. Flow State is the champion. Sitting here eating my pastry.
I swear I didn't rage quit. I swear
You
I didn't
rage quit.
I didn't rage quit. I swear.
What he's saying
But
though
I
is,
see Lindsay left. All right, she might pop back.
She's
in.
an abrupt leaver.
She don't even say bye. That's rude.
I would be the same way if I could get away with it. Sometimes I do. Well, now I can't talk because my mouth is full.
Too much dig in your mouth. Gay. All right. Oh, she's in the chat, but you're not on the stage. What's up with that?
And homie, your microphone is muted. It looked like you were talking earlier. Earlier when I was crushing Glenn
Oh,
before he rage
James,
quit.
you weren't crushing nobody.
oh, it's muted. I didn't think my mic was muted. Maybe it's you just can't hear me that well because I'm.
Well, I think you're too far away from your mic. That's why.
Can y'all hear me better now?
Yes, yes. Do you want it? You want
Okay,
to
I
add
put my
something?
volume up because I'm using my my mic on my camera. Because my
Did you want to add
headphones are
something?
charging. But basically, what he's saying is Glenn wants to get the government less involved. He just wants people to go out with whatever they came in with. Is what he's saying.
No,
and get the
he
government
wants them to enforce the marriage contract. When you file for divorce, all you're saying, the petitioner is requesting that the government divide up assets. That's all it is. It's an asset division. If you want them to then enforce the clauses of the marriage contract, you're bringing them into a much higher degree than it is the status quo right now. So he says that he wants them out. Nevertheless, he's also advocating for having them in more.
So wait a minute. The person that's filing for divorce is petitioning the government, asking them to get involved in division of assets.
Only in division of assets.
You're right. And I'm saying you leave with what you came with. And then you don't agree with that.
Well,
now
you're talking. No, I was addressing the part about who broke the contract, who's at fault in this divorce. That's what I'm addressing.
But what I'm saying is, if you want divorce, fine, leave. But you get to leave with what you came with. You don't agree with that. Now what are you doing? Who's involving the courts? Who's involving the government? The party that says, I want the government to get involved and to divide our marital assets.
Because statistically, it's usually the woman that files for divorce, not the man.
But who cares? Like that, what does that matter?
That doesn't matter much because that doesn't necessarily mean fault.
Yeah.
Just because a woman files for divorce 70% of the time doesn't necessarily mean she's at fault for the marriage ending. Typically, it could be men choose not to do it.
It sounds like your situation could be solved with a prenup.
Well, that's what I've also encouraged guys. I said prenups, but get them done by a lawyer. Not doing them yourself.
Or have your buddy Flow State do it.
No. Flow State's
I
not a
will
lawyer.
sell you a degree in prenups.
Is that your college? Your college is going to be a degree in prenups?
Mm-hmm.
Prenup degree?
Cool. I got a degree in prenuptial agreements. Yes, sir.
Is that a AA, a BS? A BA?
Alcoholics Anonymous. Absolutely.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Funny. But no, I think we got to figure out, again, I think the problem with marriage, or the problem with why we have the divorce rate as it is now, is due just to selfishness. I think people are just selfish, and it's easily accessible to just be selfish and to, they think it's just, easy to walk away, and that there's no consequences, or there's no ramifications for it, for their consequences. And that's the problem. I think they think way too much about oneself rather than one's family.
Yep. That's why we're not getting married nowadays a lot, is because people are so selfish.
You know, I think men are being just as selfish as women are when it comes to it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know about a lot of men.
I can't ever tell if Teddy is trolling or not.
Teddy? Oh.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. When I hear people advocating for making divorce harder and keeping together miserable marriages,
I think they should make. I think marriage
sounds
should be harder to
stupid to me.
obtain. I think marriage should be harder to obtain. I think it should be harder to get a marriage. You know, I think they should be forced to like go through like some.
This is not a situation that laws will remedy. This is a cultural issue, and
it is a cultural thing. It's a heart problem. I've said it. It's a heart problem. The cultural has to value marriage again, but it doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Flo, do a rant real quick. I'm going to use the restroom again. Be right back.
Free my ninja resto. Glenn wants $300. What did Resto do? Okay, well he can't answer my questions while I'm supposed to be ranting. Guys, for a limited time only, you can get your degree in prenuptial agreements from Flow State University. Become a member. The second tier membership, I don't remember how much it is. It's like 20. It's like, I don't know. Get the second tier membership, and in just 6 months, you will have a degree. I will send you a piece of paper, a diploma, saying that you are certified in prenuptial agreements, both for yourself and for anybody else who might need a prenuptial agreement. After 12 months, you can get your degree in post prenuptial agreements, meaning if you're already married, we can put a prenuptial agreement in place.
So
notarized, done.
$120 for the 6 months and $240 for the 12 months. What a
It's
steal.
an investment in your future. This is the start of your new life. You could become a prenuptial agreement drafter, notarizer, and all-around creator.
That's a steal.
It is a steal. Thank you. I know, but time is running out.
Time is
you better
limited.
act now, or else this opportunity is going to be gone soon. Then you're going to have to get like what other job opportunities are out there? You want to shovel fries into a paper bag?
No.
What is this?
You want to join a ska band?
You're not going to do your sell your stupid, university of prenuptials.
Well, it's a low price.
I have been selling it.
That's 120.
How many students do you got?
240. 12 months.
How many what?
How many students do you got?
My first one right here, as far as I know. Ain't that right?
Low price.
You're valedictorian.
Yeah, you made the right decision. You will not regret this. You're going to be so proud of your diploma. You're going to be at the family barbecue showing it off to everybody.
Flow State's valedictorian for prenuptial agreement.
Look at those cords hanging out of his wall. This man will draft your marriage documents.
Yeah.
From the comfort of my own home.
He'll pull the stack of papers off of the dirty laundry bin.
Oh, what's that soap called? Well, it's called Tactical Soap from Grondike. Game changer. It has pheromones. And guess what? If you wash your balls with this, you have a higher chance of avoiding divorce because your wife is going to be on your balls. You get it? Pheromones, balls. There you go. To learn more about this, you should listen to this quick commercial. This episode was brought to you by Tactical Soap from Grondike Soap Company, a game changer in men's grooming. Crafted with natural pheromones, it's designed to elevate your alpha status, masculinity, attractiveness, and charisma. Each bar is meticulously formulated to invigorate your sense and leave you feeling confident and irresistible. Unleash your true potential with Tactical Soap and command attention wherever you go. Order now by using the link in the description of this video. All right. Well, now since we started off with it being ladies' night 3.5 hours ago, and now it's a bunch of dudes.
Nose
So,
goes.
What's it go?
Nose goes. You got to be the lady.
You know, I don't know how this happened. There was chicks. Now I got a bunch of dicks, and this is really gay.
Hey.
So we gotta like
Dude,
change
take
this
over.
up.
We can't.
Yes, Patrick Riley, it will increase your alpha status. The way that it does is the pheromones. You're gonna smell good. Women are gonna be drawn to you, and
Not if you don't have a diploma.
Yeah, you
yes,
gotta-
from Flo's school of
I mean,
is one of your required readings, Flo, is going to be Jordan Peterson's 12
Is
Steps
that
to
a
Life?
towel? Are you using a towel for a curtain?
yeah, yeah. Using a towel for curtain, yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty southern, I guess. I mean, right? Use a towel.
Well, I'm
This is
wondering,
a graduate,
is one of your reading, like your courses and like, the required reading is going to be Jordan Peterson 12 Steps for Life or whatever?
Actually, I have that book, so I can actually read that book.
So you haven't
How long
read
you
it?
had it for?
I've had it for 2 years now, I think.
So did you miss the
You gonna read
chapter where it says you got to make your bed every morning?
No, I didn't miss that chapter. I struggle with that.
Come on, lobster. Get those pinchers out and make that bed.
Admittedly, I struggle with that. Maybe that's, I don't know. That's just one
Pro
thing I
tip.
struggle with.
If you get a girlfriend or a wife, you don't have to make the bed at all anymore.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you get wide, you don't have to put the bed on.
Real quick, I got a comment here from XR who says, Glenn, we live in a throwaway society. Relationships are like old shoes. When it wears out, you get it fixed and rejuvenate. When it wears out, you get it fixed and rejuvenated. Such is the case with marriage. You work on it. Yes, where are they? I think I got it.
You did good.
I tried. It was an attempt. Women love bad boys because it's the ultimate challenge. Yep. Converting a bad boy to be solely their good boy. Yep.
Yeah, it's a weird challenge for them.
Terryok's like, you had that book for 2 years, doesn't clean his room. The fuck? Just because you own a book doesn't necessarily mean you read it.
Here's
a
lobster.
I struggle cleaning my room, okay? I just, sometimes it gets
Let's
in a
do it
mess.
right now. Let's do it right now. This will be a live action exercise. Straighten out them sheets.
And go.
This is see why this is my valedictorian? Look at him go. You'd think he was in the military with that sort of look at those fucking skills.
I want to see some hospital corners. I want to see the hospital corners in those.
I can see the hospital corners from here. What the fuck are you talking about?
There's no such thing hospital corner there at all. There's no hospital corners.
I don't even know what a hospital corner is, but he's got man.
What the hospital
This
corner?
man's going places. I notarized that bed.
Leroy says that room makes me uncomfortable.
Man, I guess it's just my, I don't know. I don't know. I think better in some ways in a messier room. I'm kind of like Einstein, I guess. Because didn't
Yes.
Einstein have a problem with like messiness, from what I understand from my memory?
I think that he also had a problem with incest.
Who?
Einstein.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Was it incest or I thought it was the kitty thing? Or was that
I think
Franklin?
I don't know about that, but yeah, no. Einstein married his cousin, I believe.
Well,
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
First cousin?
wasn't thing normal back then?
If memory serves, yes.
Okay.
like the whole
now
If it's
since
good
there's a
enough
bunch
for
of
the
dudes-
smartest man ever, it's good enough for you.
Since we got a bunch of dudes on the panel, I guess I will be changing the topic somewhat to
I'm not much longer for this world. I'm off to bed soon.
okay, cool.
So
No
you can take
problem.
that. You're like Glenn's like, all right.
Yes. No, I'm kidding. I will pin the link to the chat now on up there. I didn't really want to do it in the beginning, and I'm gonna be like really strict on who comes up. If you are not willing to show your face on camera, at least in the back stage, yeah, I'm not going to bring you up. If you are not adding to the topic and the conversation, I'm gonna, not let you up. And I'm gonna just end up kicking you. If you are a troll, no, I'll even let feminists up. I'd rather have feminists than trolls. If you are,
will you allow another person with a fedora up, or is that encroaching on your vibe?
No, more fedoras, more the merrier.
Yeah.
Fedoras are good.
But they can't play the same instrument as you.
Yeah, they can't play the bass. They can't play the bass.
You need more trumpeters.
Trumpets,
right? Like the horns.
Yeah.
Never had to knock on wood.
And your green screen got to be at least as good as Fatty's in the back.
Shit.
Fuck
the marriage counselors here.
I'm going to go ahead and drop the link now in the chat, and we're gonna turn the conversation to what can guys do better to secure their relationship, or what can guys do to make better decisions in a relationship, like. Because, it takes two, but there's things that we could do to either avoid the problems that we're dealing with, or, whether it's, certain behaviors, avoiding certain behaviors, or maybe even avoiding certain women to get into commitments with, or it's avoiding becoming, lazy and complacent. There's a lot of things that we could do. So I want to hear from the guys that have, either been in long-term relationships or, who.
So you want to hear from me? You want to hear from him?
I've never been in a relationship, so I don't qualify.
Well, if that's the case there, James, you may want to drop down to the chat side and be able to learn some things. That way the seats that are available for the stage are used to guys that can bring some insight.
Answer the question.
Yeah. So
no
I pinned the chat. I pinned the link in the chat. If you guys want to hop up and give some, these younger guys some advice on how they can be successful in their relationships, I would love to hear that level of insight. So anybody that wants to come up, except Uncle Fatty. I'm kidding. Interesting background this time. Very interesting. Yeah, the Doubting Thomas, the link is pinned, I believe, in the chat. Didn't I pin it? Yeah, the link is pinned in the chat at the top.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
It's there.
Uno momento to the people on my side. You're cool with me dropping it in my side, right? Ooh.
Yeah. Do what you do. Uncle Fatty, what is your advice? I saw you saying no in the chat. You said I was wrong. What are your thoughts? Where am I wrong and all that stuff?
He's just like a floating head in the crotch of that.
Is that better?
Sasquatch.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right.
It looks like you're giving a mouth hug to that hairy gentleman behind you.
What are the two words that I want to say, Flo?
God damn it, manage expectations.
Everything is everything.
Expectations, bro. Okay.
Everything is everything. Everything is everything.
Yeah, that's different though. But when it comes to life, okay, when it comes to anything, everything, communication is key, right? You've said this before tonight many times, right? Communication is absolutely key. What are we doing when we communicate?
We're sharing
Rolling
information.
our eyes.
Wait a minute, where is Fatty? What's
We're
going on here?
managing expectations, right? The whole point
No, you
of
said
communication
we're
is
sharing
to- is to-
information. We're sharing information. We're not managing expectations. We're sharing information.
by sharing information, we are in essence managing expectations, whether we know it or not, right? And most of us don't even have the concept of thinking about managing an expectation because we have no expectations. And we have this lovey-dovey, no expectations. I just want you to do what you want to do. And if you want to be with me, then that's where you'll be. Right? Bullshit. Okay.
No,
It's
that's
all
why you
about
establish
managing
that's why you do-
expectations.
That's why you establish a framework and you say, hey, this is what I want for my relationship. This is the type of relationship I'm going to have. This is my do's and don'ts. Right.
For sure.
And
I agree with that.
then if you're cool with that, great. As soon as you step out of that, you know that this is the consequence.
So that's a boundary and a consequence, right? And what we're doing when we're communicating is we are establishing boundaries and setting goals and defining the consequences, right?
You make me
That
want to get
is-
divorced again.
Shout out to Kareem real quick.
Best money I ever spent.
$10 super chat. He says, what should guys do? Don't care what anyone thinks. I think he's asking the question.
I mean, maybe, yeah. I would say, Fatty, when you say manage expectations, it sounds to me, what I hear is
I know.
lower your standards.
Yes, that's
Is
what
that
I hear
you
too.
mean? Is
I
that
know,
what you
but
mean?
it's not that. But remember,
Well, what do
it's
you
not
mean
that.
by-
It's actually raising the standards, right? It's defining the standards. It is setting the goals and the resolve of the actual contract, right? And here's something that I really disagree. I agree with.
Isn't that what I've said all night? Like, hey, tell everybody.
Yes, yes,
like,
100%. I agree
the
with.
guy tells the woman, like, hey, this is the framework of my relationship.
These are my
either-
expectations.
Yep.
Right.
either
So you're
in or you're
managing
out.
your expectations of that relationship. And you're asking your partner, what are your expectations? What do you expect of me?
No, I'm actually not.
Right?
I'm not actually. You
Why
notice
not?
I'm not telling them. I'm not asking them what their expectations.
Why wouldn't
of
you
me.
though? Why wouldn't you? If you're going to
Because
set a goal and a boundary,
it's not an equal thing. I'm saying I am dictating this relationship. I'm telling you, this is what I expect in my relationship. This is what I'm going to do in my relationship. Right?
Mhm.
Like I'm telling
and then
you,
your
this
partner
is what I'm
says to
gonna
you,
do.
"This is what I expect in my side of the relationship as well,"
And
and
I'm
you
not
both
asking,
honor that.
but I'm
You
not
both
asking
honor
them.
that equally, right?
But I'm not asking that. I'm telling them what I'm going to do. I'm telling them what my side for them is going to be. This is what I'm going to. This is what I'm providing. This is
So
what
you're a
I'm doing for
dictator
you.
then. Cool.
I never said.
No,
I never said I wasn't in that.
If
Like,
a chick
I-
doesn't
No, it's
like
cool.
those
It
terms,
works that way.
then-
Look, those relationships work. Okay, they
And
do.
saying
I'm
if
not
she
saying
doesn't like those terms. She could always leave. She doesn't have to be in it.
Sure.
No one's forcing her.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
and
like-
you probably wouldn't have gotten married in the first place or be together in the first place if there wasn't, that mutual acceptance of the expectation, right? We've talked about this before. There's transactional things that happen in relationships, right?
Oh, but
Relationships
see,
in essence are
yes.
transactional.
Yes,
Right,
they
so-
are. Unfortunately, they are. But
Right.
at the same time, if I say, "Hey, this is what I expect in my relationships," and I'm saying, "This is what I'm doing. This is what I expect, my wife to be doing," and that's the relationship. This is what
Yeah.
you can expect from me, and this is what I'm expecting from you. I'm setting the tone of that relationship. I'm saying this is the framework that this relationship is going to operate in. I'm not asking them what do they expect from me. I'm telling them what they can expect from me. Big difference.
But you're honoring what they expect of you as well, right?
What do you
Whether it's
mean
spoken
honoring
or not, you're honoring that she doesn't want you to cheat. She doesn't want you to
Well, yeah, because that's
fucking
going to
eat
be part
bad
of
and
that's-
turn into a
that's-
fatty,
that's-
right? So
That's the other part. That's part of what I am already going to be laying out in what you could expect from me.
Sure, but you're in essence you're saying that no opinion of hers matters, or your partner's.
No, I'm not.
You
I'm
are
not,
trying to get dudes to lower their standards.
I am
I mean,
not
I don't
saying that.
because
No,
the
no
whole
opinion
point
of
of
her.
managing an expectation is to hide the standard.
I'm not
right?
telling her what her opinion doesn't matter.
I expect my sandwiches to be
Sure.
toasted.
You know, I'm
Hey,
not
deep fried,
I'm just not
uncrisp.
asking them, what do you expect from me? Because I'm dictating and determining what the relationship is and how the relationship will be ran. And I'm telling them, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Because this is what I'm expecting from you. This is what I'm going to do. Okay? Like, I'm not asking
Sure.
them.
Yeah.
I'm
mean,
dictating the terms of the relationship.
Sure, but you're
Leroy.
You're at least acknowledging that that your partner or your spouse, I guess, right? Since you're not partners, right? That that they have an expectation of you as well, right? And you're going to discuss that, whether you
What they could expect from me is what I tell them they can expect from me. You know, that's the only expectation
Sure.
that they should have of me, is what I am laying out as this is what I'm bringing. This is the framework of what I want my relationship to be like. Right.
Sure.
In doing so, the only thing they could expect from me is what I say. Right. And what I can expect from them is what they agree,
bro.
It's what
Let
they
me tell you,
agree.
that relationship's going to go a long time, bro. It's going to last forever.
It probably will, because if both sides set out going, this is what I want, then accept or decline. You know, you accept.
Basically,
Uncle
you're saying
Fatty,
is you
I
want
just
to
feel like you got us divorced.
You want a submissive, though. I've been in a 16-and-a-half-year relationship as of right now, so don't fucking tell me anything.
With a microwave bag of lotion.
And I've done over 150 fucking hours of counseling this year with the Gottman method. You know anything about the Gottman method of counseling and premarital counseling? Premarital counseling is absolutely crucial. It's absolutely fucking key. Absolutely key. Especially with same-sex marriages.
Tell me about it.
Well, I don't know anything about same-sex marriages.
I mean, you wouldn't know that by looking at this panel, though.
You're right. Good to see you.
Leroy, you wanted to chime in?
I'm curious about this method that he's talking about, and is that specifically for homosexuals, or what's that about?
So it's the Gottman method, Gottman method of counseling and premarital counseling, and in general relationship counseling, and it's basically for all couples, whether they're secular or not secular. It's mainly originally designed for couples that were getting married that were of different religions, right? And how to deal with each other on a straight basis without having to invoke the Lord, right? Because in reality, I believe 100% that relationships that involve a third party last the longest.
What do you mean by a third party?
The Holy Spirit. Because it becomes a covenant, and the Holy Spirit becomes the accountability partner, so to say. Okay,
I agree with that.
Without naming the Holy Spirit, okay, non-secular couples can have a higher power that is greater than them, and that the thing that is greater, right, is the goal of holding the relationship together, of being one together forever, having each other's back, ride or die, whatever you want to call it, right? There's ways that you don't have to involve the Lord to be married. And especially when you have different religions marrying each other, and then you have different, you have different ways of managing different expectations, is all it comes down to. In essence, everything we're doing right now is managing an expectation.
I don't feel like that's
Do
what I'm
all
doing.
marriages not involve the Lord, as they are a covenant between man, woman, and God?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I really do. But
So I
then
don't understand
again,
the purpose of Gottman.
I
then.
agree
Would it
more
not be
so
just
that love
done
always
solely
wins,
through the
and that
church?
there's
One mic, guys,
there's ways.
one mic. Leroy, is there a way to
Go ahead, Leroy.
boost your mic up a little bit?
Yeah.
'Cause you're
Yeah, it's
coming
always
in a
really
little-
low. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, you're coming in a little low. I mean, I know you got that bass and that deep, Irish, voice like this. You like the Irish version.
Thank you. Don't
that's
believe that's true, but I'll take it.
Little hot. That's a little hot. If you just a little bit lower, you'll be good.
Pause.
How are we looking now?
Yeah, like no homo.
Any better?
No. Yeah, you're good. That's good. That's good.
Sick.
So what were you saying, Leroy? You're asking him something?
Yeah, well,
Gottman.
from what I
Gottman,
understand, from most religions, that they would have to sit down with their local pastor or whatever before they get married, iron all these things out. So I don't really understand the purpose of this Gottman dude. Also, I kind of believe that if it's a secular marriage, it's not really a marriage. Like, what's the point if you don't believe that this is a covenant between
You're allowed
man,
to
woman,
believe
and
that.
God?
Yeah, you're allowed to
Right.
believe that. That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I agree with
I'm
you.
asking
on that,
like an
Leroy.
exploratory question then. Like, what is the point of a secular marriage then?
Look
Of
cool
what?
like all the other cool kids.
It's not really a valid reason, though, is it?
What is
No, it's not.
I didn't necessarily hear the question there. What was that?
So, if a marriage is a covenant between man, woman, and God, what is the purpose of a secular relationship or a secular marriage?
Taxes.
Love,
Culture.
love.
If it's taxes,
Love?
It's a
What's-
cultural.
what's-
It's a cultural
How about love?
phenomenon.
It's more than likely love, right?
It's
Yeah, but you
it's
can
a
be in love without being
cultural
married.
Phenomenon, right?
Sure.
So again, that doesn't answer my question. as
You
to
know,
what's
when
the
you have
purpose
such
then of a
fancy
secular
backgrounds, it
marriage.
makes
Hold on, you
you-
guys. One mic, because you guys, when you guys are talking over each other, nobody could hear. Leroy was saying
And I got
something.
shitty speakers, so it just muffles up. I can't hear shit.
Yeah, again, so just to continue the question, what is the point of a secular marriage if it's nothing to do with the church? Surely just like a contract would do, or some sort of government thing. But I don't understand why it would be classed as a
It-
marriage.
There's quite a few different reasons why why folks that aren't religious, why folks that aren't a part of the same church want to get married. Sure, it's a contract. Sure, you get better benefits with loans and your income and the way you file your taxes and the way you are able to buy a home. It's kind of hard for two individual people to go in on one mortgage. It's a lot easier when a couple does it, right? They like to see a joint bank account. They like to see things like that. The thing when we start getting into that, now
Well,
we get into this
that's only been in
divorce
recent
stuff, right?
years.
So,
That's not been. That's only been in recent years, and that's only been ever since women got into the workforce. When that wasn't the
What,
case,
World War
one
II?
income was more than enough to.
since World War II, right? Yeah, since women went into the workforce in the 50s.
Yeah, but then they weren't pushed. They were when the men got home. They weren't all going back. Like a lot of them were going back home.
Sure. So let's
So,
take some
I would
context into
say
that
since
too, though,
about
Glenn.
the 60s, really since we got off the gold standard, and they
Sure.
started giving women, credit cards and all that other stuff, and
Sure.
then
Absolutely.
so
So let's end Citizens United. Let's get corporations out of government and make sure that a guy like Walt Cleaver can actually exist in today's world, right? Because
Who
in
the fuck is
today's
that?
world, Walt Cleaver, Leave It to Beaver's dad, right? June's husband. Yeah, he'd be making over $95 an hour today. But instead we have the corporations keeping all the money, right? And we have this workforce, like you said, because
No,
of
we
extreme
don't.
feminism,
Oh, no,
right?
no,
Extreme
no.
feminism has taken, and now we have women in the workforce, right? But yet, even still, the corporation keeps all the money, and the money doesn't go to the middle income family.
It's inflation. It's
This
inflation.
to me is a
Private-
weird argument
I mean,
because you're describing things. You're describing the reasons to get married as very materialistic, and yet you have an issue with
no,
materialism.
the
as
original
far as
reason is
big
love,
companies
bro.
go.
I told you the reason is love, bro. There's
Then you
one
started
reason
going
why
on about
things
taxes
get
and
made.
mortgages and things like
But
that.
see, is
Because
that
you
why
asked
people
me
got
to
married
expand
before?
my thought.
Or hold on, were people
You
getting
asked
married
me to
before for
expand,
love?
so I expanded. The number one reason people get married is because of love, bro. Doesn't matter about anything else, color, religion, secular bullshit. It has to do with love. And you know what more? It has to do with somebody being real hot and somebody that you think you can fuck for the rest of your life and not get bored of.
Yeah, that's
Wanna be
part of
straight
it.
up
Okay,
honest?
but I don't understand what.
Right?
So, like, think about things like
It's
arranged
love.
marriages. They don't involve, love initially,
It doesn't
but
happen
people
in
still
America,
get
though.
married
That's
and
fine.
have a
But
covenant
that
under
happened in
God. So I don't
Christianity.
Hold
necessarily
on,
agree
hold on,
with you.
Fatty, you gotta let him talk. You can't just
It's a false
keep on
premise.
talking.
It doesn't happen, bro.
You're
But you
spurging.
got
Where are all the
Fatty,
arranged marriages in
Fatty,
America?
Fatty.
Where
You
are the
gotta let him
arranged
talk.
marriages in America? Where are
Fatty,
they?
Fatty. You have to let him talk and can't let it. Once you start talking over, trying to talk
I'm
over
not
each
going to
other, it doesn't
engage in
work.
a false premise. It's a false
Well,
premise. Where are
again,
all these marriages?
you got
Well,
India
Fatty, if you're
that does.
fucking childish,
There's
We're
India
not
for
in
one that
India.
has a lot of
We're not in
arranged
India.
marriages.
We're talking about America.
I know he's talking about arranged marriages, the concept of arranged marriages. He's not saying here.
That works for their
He's talking
culture.
about the concept. So
That
just
works for their culture.
listen.
Well,
without
one of the things that
interrupting.
one of the things that you did bring into it is cross religions and stuff like that. So I don't understand why you're trying to differentiate now and say, no, this doesn't happen in America, but you're talking about cross culturally, people getting married, and the main driver
Those
being
aren't
love. So I'll
arranged
give you an
marriages, Liam.
example.
Those
Can
aren't.
I finish one sentence without you jumping down my throat? So then you said that there are no arranged marriages. So I give you an example of where there is where a relationship would start off with love not being the premise, and immediately you try and dismiss it. So I don't really think you're coming into this in good faith then.
Okay, so your original question had to do with marriages in America. Right?
I didn't mention America.
In general, we're talking about American society here. We're talking about our culture, right?
Probably better to talk about Western society rather than just American.
Sure. So in general, we're moving the goalposts to a different society, and now we're justifying a rationalization somehow.
What do you mean by that?
You know how those couples make things work when there's arranged marriages? They figure out how to manage their expectations of each other. Whether it's the husband being an authoritarian, whether it's the wife being submissive, whether it's an equal partner relationship or not, they figure it out. That's what managing expectations is all about.
have you counseled many of those?
No.
You
There's
counsel
not a lot
more
of, there's not a lot of
egalitarian
Indian folks up
relationships,
here in
right?
North Idaho, bro.
You can't.
You know,
You
none of
deal
it.
with more.
Let me. Can I try to respond to Leroy's question in a non-absurd way? I don't think that marriage is a religious sacrament primarily. I think it does have religious elements for religious people, but marriage still has utility for societies with or without religion, and that is it strengthens the family unit within society. That is beneficial regardless of deity.
And better families make better communities make better countries. Yeah. You know, there's 140,000 kids, right now, 140,000 kids under 4 years old ready for adoption.
What does
Okay.
that
In
have
America.
to do with what we're talking about, Fatty?
What about the couples that can't have kids, right? What if the gal had a history?
But I'm wondering, what does that have to do with maintaining marriages and
what about
making
couples
like
that want
long
to get
term?
married?
But
They
again,
can't have
what
kids.
what does that have to do? What does this have to do with being able to maintain a long-term relationship, a healthy, happy, long-term relationship?
What about a couple that can't have kids that wants to have kids? How do they make it work?
You're asking a question. You're answering a question with the question. I'm asking you, how is that topic and deal with addressing how to maintain a healthy, happy, long-term relationship?
Because it's the same answer in the end, right? They figure out how to manage the expectations. They set higher goals for each other in doing so, right? We're not lowering our standards when we're talking about expectations of each other. We're having a conversation saying, hey, babe, I really don't like it when you come home late smelling like fucking cigarettes and beer. And, if you're going to do that, like take a shower or something, right? That's managing an expectation. That's what that is.
But that has nothing to do with like not being able to have kids.
What I'm saying is there's plenty of different situations where people want to get married. It has nothing to do with God, right? Has nothing to do with anything
it's
else
LARPing,
other than they love
though. I look at it, it's like and that's just my opinion, it's LARPing. It's LARPing. It's like, I want to have this thing that these guys have over here called marriage, but I don't want to do the God part. I want to just do everything but the God part. So to me, it's a way that's LARPing. Now,
but that's
to each their own. If that's what they want to do it. But
Hold
see,
on. You think that society, you think that there's only value in marriage if you're religious?
I personally, I think, no, I'm not saying there's not only value. I just think it's not the same. It's not marriage the way that it ought to be instituted. That's what I'm saying.
But I guess what I'm saying is that
right. So there's
the
no value
institution of marriage. Jesus fucking Christ, Fatty. The institution of marriage is bigger than the religious belief. That might be a part of some marriages, but without the religious belief, you would still have marriage being valuable for families, for institutions, for individuals.
Yes,
for society.
from a secular, from just looking at it from like, oh, these two things look identical, but one of them's different. They're identical on the surface, but beyond the exterior, they're not identical. They're different, right? And one being foundation in the religion of knowing that the marriage is the reflection between the relationship between Christ and the church, and understanding the sanctity of that. That's where the value is. Outside the value for the secular one, that's why I think that we see so many divorces, is they don't value that sanctity of the
people change churches faster than they change partners.
You're right.
So
but I'm saying the way that it ought to be, the way that it was once in place, that's what it was, right? Like, I'm saying way that we should be doing it is not the way that we're doing it. And if we're doing it the way that we should be doing it, then that religious element would be a factor.
Yeah.
What if the religious element is the LARPing part?
Well, that wouldn't really make sense, because religious marriage came first rather than secular marriage. So it would be the other way around.
I bet it did not. I bet it did. Pair bonding. Marriage is just formalized pair bonding.
So not necessarily. I think that's where you're looking at it wrong, because what I originally said is a marriage is the unification of man and woman in the eyes of God. So I wouldn't really say that.
Well, what we're doing now is we're talking about from two different worldviews.
But regardless, hold on.
Point of view.
But regardless of which worldview you come from, the universal factor is that there is a formal pair bonding between a man and a woman in marriage. That's universal. Becoming one in the eyes of God is a particular. That's a flavoring to the marriage. It's not the marriage.
I actually disagree, because as this is a covenant between man, woman, and God, then you're also living up to a higher authority. So that's why, I'd say secular divorce is a lot higher than religious-based divorce, because they're actually trying to live up to an ideal, and there will be consequences for going against the agreement.
Delirious Thomas, you can't be interjecting. You already have bad reception, so just wait till you get an opening. Don't try to just interject and talk over people. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Leroy, for talking over you.
No, I pretty much finished my point there. But just to reiterate what I was saying, because the religious live up to a higher authority, and there will be consequences for breaking the vows that you have taken, I would say that's what makes the Christian or other religious marriages a lot stronger. So I don't really understand what binds seculars.
51% of divorces are by Protestants in the U.S.
Well,
that's Protestants.
Well, that's a misrepresentation of the statistic. It's It's not 51% of all the divorces are done by Protestants.
I haven't done deep research, but it's 51% Protestant.
Yes, out of when it comes to religion, how many of those in these religions have been divorced? 51% of the Protestants that were polled have been divorced, and then you got like 19% for Catholics.
Okay, you know.
Yeah,
Do you remember what the atheist number is?
I don't recall. Was it 2? Oh, I don't recall. I know like Hindu is low too.
It's a difference between 4.5% and 5%. Okay, there's a 0.5% difference on whether or not secular or non-secular marriages last. Okay, so 49-51, whatever, it's 4.5% compared to 5%.
What are you talking
so the
about,
numbers
buddy?
are still low.
And what is it? What is it for religious people?
For there's all the religions combined are 98% of divorce. The divorce rate is 98%. Here, I can share screen if you want.
Here, hold on real quick. Let me get these super chats. We got one from Kareem that says $10 super chat that says we could solve all the world's problems if women just obeyed men. I agree. Actually.
Probably not really, but
yes.
Yeah.
We got I don't, you know your name. FWIW.
It's LOL Paladins, man. LOL Paladins.
LOL Paladins. There we go. $2 super chat. It goes FWIW. Marriages predate Christianity by 2,000 years. Yeah, you could say that, but actually, we see in Genesis that God says in the beginning, a man will leave his father and mother and join to his wife, and the two become one flesh. That right there is the creation of marriage.
It's not literal.
It's the creation of religious marriage.
Again,
No,
I already
Christian
established,
marriage.
depending on your world view,
Judeo-Christian marriage.
depending
you
on
saying that-
your world view. This is why you guys don't understand that when we get into these points, when we're going like, no, it's this, it's that. We're talking worldviews. Now we're arguing worldview points and whose worldview is better than the other, and it's like almost saying my God's bigger than your God, and then you're never gonna get to any cohesive. You're gonna get to a point of diminishing returns really quickly. The best point to argue is what we do agree on and what we could work with in that framework.
Okay, let me ask you this then. If I said, Glenn, in an average day, what are your responsibilities and what are your wife's responsibilities? You'd probably be able to prattle off a few things. If I said, what is God's responsibility? What would you tell me?
He got this whole galaxy to worry about. That's a lot of responsibilities.
And so that illustrates my point, is that the God component is not a fundamental, functional, day-to-day component of marriage.
No,
you know what I mean?
disagree.
You know what? Never mind. This is not worth going down this alley.
That's why when we start getting into the whole worldview element,
No,
it diverts the conversation.
I'm bailing on the point.
Yeah, it diverts the conversation into my God is bigger than your God, or my worldview is better than your worldview, and that just derails the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Well, can I say? May I? I believe you're the one who brought up religious marriages are like way more successful, or alluded to it.
Less.
Not you, Flow State. The other gentleman. I think it was Glenn, but I'm not sure.
No, it was
somebody.
It was me.
And actually, statistically, they are.
How much statistically?
Well, when you look at the statistics for the devout religious, not just the ones that just say they're religious, it goes down to 14% of devout religious people get divorced.
Well,
compared to,
I can sum up. I can sum up marriage for you in one word. One word. Compromise.
No, I
I know. I'm on my phone
Feminism
on the
is-
road.
Great word. Perfect word.
I don't think there's a compromise. I think you establish an agreed. Well, you lay out your framework of what you want for your marriage and what you want in your relationship, and what they ought to expect from you and what you expect from them, and then that's you fulfill that, you uphold that. There's no compromise there.
I agree with Glenn.
Now, I think there's compromise maybe in small day-to-day stuff, like, what laundry soap we're going to get and stuff. Sure, there's compromise there, but I think when it comes to the framework of the relationship, no, there's no compromise. You lay it out. If she wants to be in that relationship with you, she agrees to it. Cool, there you go. It's not like, hey, so what kind of relationship do you want to have? Let's build that. No, you establish the framework of the relationship that you are going to have, and they have the choice to enter in it or not.
Why would you enter a marriage where you're straight out the gate compromising?
That's your worldview, though, too, right? That's your worldview. That's the way things need to
So
happen.
that would mean they would compromise.
No, they make a choice.
Yes.
It's not there's no compromise. You guys are idiots if you think there's compromise. There's no compromise.
Then she's compromising to your will.
No, she's choosing to accept my
She
worldview.
wants the same thing.
That is a compromise. That is
Both
a compromise.
It's not a compromise. If she aligns with it, if that's what she wants to, where's the compromise, Fatty?
Granted, you got it. That's it. Okay.
You're
right.
Are you choosing to accept her worldview at all?
No.
Or it's just your way or the highway?
The framework of I'm establishing the framework of the marriage that I'm going to be in. If I'm going to marry somebody, I'm the one that determines the marriage, who I marry.
Right.
So
your way
doing
or the highway.
No.
Yes. If you want to be in a relationship with me, it's going to be my way or the highway.
I got you.
He's looking for somebody with the same desires as him. He's not looking for either party to have
I'm
to
not
compromise.
trying to force anybody to, change their worldview or change their desires and force them into mine.
Compromise isn't about force.
I'm not compromising anybody.
And
I'm
she's
saying,
not
hey,
compromising.
If I want chocolate cake, I want
agrees,
chocolate
she
cake.
aligns.
Hold on. If I want chocolate cake and you're saying, well, you know what? I got vanilla and like this marble thing where it's a little bit of white cake and chocolate cake. How about you have this instead? No, I want chocolate cake. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this is what I want for my relationship. And if you don't want that, that's fine. Go live your life and go have the relationship that works best for you. But I don't have to compromise my relationship framework. This is the framework that I decide. There's no compromise needed.
If you are
you don't have to compromise. You don't have to compromise anything. You have everything your own way.
I don't know.
And if the partner,
are you talking about the framework of the relationship? Sure.
Both parties should have things their way without compromise. That's what he's saying. Hi, Miss Lockhart.
Well, kind of, but I think more so, Glenn, you're saying that, let me still man this for a minute here, that as long as she aligns, that if she aligns with that, then we're a partner. Then we're not a partnership. Then she's my bitch or whatever you call it. I don't know what you call it.
No, that would be you'll be my wife, right?
Sure. I'm just
she's
pushing
my
back
subject.
Against, I'm pushing more back towards the fact that
it's
there's not a lot of women.
She's not my subject because she chose. That's what she wanted to.
Yeah,
and she entered into that. There's
she
no
aligns with that.
subject.
Yeah,
she
your
entered
expectations are being met. She's meeting your expectations, and you've just defined your expectations, right? So there's the boundary. There's set consequences, right? So yeah, I'm pushing back more towards that. There's just not a lot of couples that think about this way, and there's really no marriage counseling services that say that one person or the other should be more
Look, we
so
already-
to
we
say
all-
what's right or wrong.
We all know that, you know, women are the gatekeepers of sex, right? You can't just go
Not
grab a woman and just
not
bang them.
necessarily. No, not necessarily.
Generally speaking, for fuck's sake, Fatty.
Do you
Generally
fix your
speaking,
asshole when you're mad at your wife, Fatty?
You mean the girl that I'm dating that's still fucking married?
Or that's
you guys,
I mean, come on.
Women are the gatekeepers of sex. You can't just go up to a woman and start fucking them, right? They have to.
You have to spit on it first.
They have to let you without it being.
Yeah, but Glenn,
without
they're
it being
just
supposed
supposed
to
to come to our will, right? They're just supposed to do what we
Gotta
say
make you
all
a
the time.
sandwich first.
Right, and like one of the last super chats said something about what that if women would just be more submissive, if they would just submit. Okay, so let's just have a bunch of grapers graping a bunch of gals and then marrying
Where
them
do you
or
get
not.
that from? Where you
Because
are
that's
like
what
It's a
happens
false
when we
dichotomy,
have
isn't it?
it's super false.
authoritarian.
Super false.
Drag
Like,
'em.
come on, don't even.
No.
That's just like disingenuous to even come out with that.
Completely disingenuous.
All right,
How
so
is
we
it-
already
how
know
is it that-
women are the gatekeepers of sex. Men are the gatekeepers of relationships. That's why the men asks the woman, "Will you marry?"
If a
Hey,
man
I
wants
want to
sex,
marry
he's
you.
forced to put
Here
his
you
weight
go.
on a woman
It's
anytime
not.
he
It's not
wants
the
to.
other way around. Stop. It's not the other way around. It's women. Women don't go, "Hey, we're in a marriage now." The guy determines whether or not we're going to be in a relationship. Right now, the woman could determine if she's going to leave the relationship. That's fine. But the guy determines the beginning of the relationship. So if the guy's the one that's saying, "Hey, I'm going to marry you. Here is the framework of this relationship that I'm offering," right? Do you want this too? If you do not want this too, then fine, you could go.
Now go make me a sandwich.
If she's my wife, she'll make me a sandwich.
But you do recognize there's other ways of doing things, right? That your
Sure,
way isn't
and the
the
other
highway,
ways,
right?
other ways have not been successful, as we've seen. Egalitarian relationships have not been successful whatsoever.
How have they not been successful when it's only
Because
half of a
that
percentage
also
point?
leads to the divorce rate that we have.
Yeah, look at the divorce rate. If you
Half
call
of a
that
percentage point.
if you call that success,
Half of a percentage point. Half of
Half a
one percentage point.
What are you talking about? Half a percentage point?
Fatty,
Are
the
you saying-
only
non-secular.
Are you
Fatty,
saying
you're
are you saying egalitarian marriages only make up half a percentage point?
secular and non-secular marriages.
I'm not talking
right? The
about that.
divorce
I'm talking
rates-
about egalitarian. I said egalitarian. I didn't say anything about secular or non-secular.
This conversation is going to end all marriages permanently.
egalitarian versus what? Egalitarian marriages versus what type of other marriages?
Patriarchal?
Fatty,
non-egalitarian.
In the paradigm
So-
that you're setting up, Fatty, the options it seems that you have at hand are compromise on what you want in a marriage, or the husband's abusive. And I'm saying those are both bad options.
No. The argument I was going to make is that we compromise ourselves as men every day by not. Right? We make the compromise to not.
I'm going to
force
bed
ourselves
before this conversation
on women.
ends my relationship. Thanks for having me.
Right?
Everybody in my chat will be redirected over here.
Sounds good.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Good night. Good night, Flow State.